Today, let us study the next module, film language, basic terminology of filmmaking. Terminology means body of terms, a group of words associated with something. We are going to see the terms usually associated with the terms we have to keep in our mind in connection with the filmmaking. That is what we are going to study today. Film language, basic terminology of filmmaking. We already had an overview of this in our earlier class. We had a panoramic view about this. Today we are going to study in detail. So firstly, we are going to Miss Sonsen. Miss M-I-S E hyphen E-N S-C-E-N-E Miss Sonsen. Miss Sonsen. See, Miss Sonsen already we know something connected with the theatre. So Miss Sonsen is a French term. It is a French term originally used in theatre. Originally, mise-en-scène was connected with the theatre. It literally means, what is the literal meaning of mise-en-scène? Literally, it means staging or placing on the stage or putting on the stage. Mise-en-scène encompasses the most recognizable attributes of a film scene. Mise-en-scène encompasses or includes or constitutes the most recognizable, understandable attributes, qualities of a film scene. What is, of course, mise-en-scène? It includes or comprises or consists of or encompasses the most understandable attributes of a film scene. That means it refers to, mise-en-scène refers to the totality or combination or the mixture. Mise-en-scène refers to the totality or combination or mixture of setting, costume, lighting and landscape. Landscape means the ambience. So these four things together constitute a mise-en-scène. Which are the four things which constitute the totality of the mise-en-scène? Mise-en-scène refers to the totality or combination or mixture of setting, costume, lighting and landscape or ambience within the frame of a shot. All these included within the frame of a shot. All the four things included in the frame of a shot together come to known as mise-en-scène. That is what is mise-en-scène. Some commentators include even the movements within the frame of a shot as a part of mise-en-scène. Some commentators or some film critics or those who study film include even the movements within the frame, inside the frame of a shot as a part of mise-en-scène. These aspects of mise-en-scène are usually described as pre-filming. These aspects such as setting, costume, lighting and landscape are usually described as pro-filmic. Pro-filmic means pre-production. Pro-filmic elements or pre-production elements as they exist prior to actual filming or camera activity. So these four things which constitute the term mise-en-scène, which are the setting, costume, lighting and landscape, are described as profilmic elements or pre-production elements as they exist prior to the actual filming or camera activity or camera work. Now let us see the aspects, the main aspects of mise-en-scène. Number one is setting. What is setting? In ordinary ways, when we refer to the setting of a text or a historical background, we mean in ordinary ways, so setting refers to the historical period and the associated connected geographical region forming the backdrop of a narrative. Actually, setting in ordinary sense, ordinary meaning refers to the historical period and the associated connected geographical region forming the backdrop or background for a narrative. But in the context of film studies, in the case of film studies, what does setting mean? In the context of film studies, it denotes the background. It represents or denotes or indicates the background for a depicted figure, for a depicted or pictured figure or subject. That is what is setting. The depicted figure or subject, of course, has a background. That background is called setting. In the case of film studies, as far as film studies are concerned, in the context of film studies, setting denotes the background for a depicted figure or subject. The setting could be either exterior or interior, which is determined by three things: story, cost and practicability. Setting in the case of film studies could be either exterior, outdoor, or interior, indoor, inside the studio, which is determined by whether it should be outdoor or indoor should be determined by story, cost and practicability. ഒരു സിനിമയുടെ സെറ്റിങ്ങിനെ തീരുമാനിക്കുന്ന മൂന്ന് ഘടകങ്ങൾ: ഒന്ന് നിർമ്മാണ ചെലവ്, രണ്ട് അതിൻ്റെ കഥ ഡിമാൻഡ് ചെയ്യുന്ന സംഗതി, പ്രാക്ടിക്കബിലിറ്റി, പ്രായോഗികത, പ്രൊഡക്ഷൻ കോസ്റ്റ്, അതുപോലെ സ്റ്റോറി. ഇതിനെ മൂന്നിനെ ആശ്രയിച്ചാണ് സെറ്റിംഗ് ഇൻഡോർ വേണോ ഔട്ട്ഡോർ വേണോ, എന്തുമാത്രം ഭംഗി വേണം, സെറ്റിങ്ങിന് എന്തുമാത്രം റിച്ച്നെസ് വേണോ എന്നൊക്കെ തീരുമാനിക്കുന്നത് ഈ മൂന്ന് ഘടകങ്ങളെ അടിസ്ഥാനമാക്കിയാണ്. പോസ്റ്റ് സ്ട്രക്ചറലിസ്റ്റ്, ഫെമിനൈൻ ഫിലിം ക്രിട്ടിക്. She is an American philosopher and gender theorist whose works have influenced political philosophy, ethics and literary theory. Then the writings on costume and fashion by Roland Barthes. We have already studied about Roland Barthes. The writings on costume and fashion by whom? By Roland Barthes treat every piece of clothing as a signifier. He is of the opinion that every piece of clothing, every single piece of clothing acts as a signifier with the corresponding signified or meanings that will determine the identity, status and power. What did Roland Barthes say about costume? He was of the opinion that every single piece of clothing is a great signifier with the corresponding signified. What is signified? The concept or the idea or meaning that will determine identity. Every signifier, every piece of clothing determines identity of characters, status. They show the status. വളരെ പ്രൗഢമായ ഡ്രസ്സാണെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ സമൂഹത്തിലെ they belong to the highest category. മോശമായ ഡ്രസ്സാണെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ they belong to the lowest strata. അങ്ങനെ ഐഡന്റിറ്റിയെ കാണിക്കുന്നു, സ്റ്റേറ്റസിനെ കാണിക്കുന്നു, and power. And the dress also shows, the costume also shows the power. Gerard Barth Roland Gerard Barthes was a French literary theorist. He was a French literary theorist, essayist, philosopher, critic, and semiotician. He was a great semiotician. Roland Gerard Barthes. He was a French literary theorist, essayist, philosopher, critic, and semiotician. And now we come to the third aspect of mise-en-scène. What is it? It is lighting. Lighting. See, what are the elements of the third aspect of mise-en-scène named lighting? Lighting includes lamps and other light sources. Lighting includes lamps and other light sources used to illuminate the film scene. Lighting includes lamps and other light sources used to illuminate or brighten the film scene or film shot. In cinematography, the key light. In cinematography, in the camera work, the key light is the main source of illumination. Which is the main source of illumination in cinematography? The key light is the main source of illumination in cinematography. And then the fill light. What does fill light do? Fill light illuminates the shadows made by the key light. In classical Hollywood cinema, we studied earlier, in classical Hollywood cinema, the 3-point lighting. 3-point lighting, remember that? Key light, fill light, and backlight. This 3-point lighting was customary or essential, indispensable. It was an unavoidable factor. Which was an unavoidable factor? The 3-point lighting. In which type of film? In classical Hollywood cinema. In classical Hollywood cinema, the 3-point lighting was customary. Besides the key light and fill light, a backlight. There is a backlight. That is 3-point lighting. There is a backlight which illuminates the subject from above and behind. From above and behind. That is the function of the backlight. What does backlight do? Backlight illuminates the subject from above and behind. The 3-point lighting scheme is typical in narrative cinema. It is very particular, 3-point lighting is very particular or typical in narrative cinema. The light coming from the 3 sides, key light, fill light, and backlight. The light coming from the 3 sides provide the subject with a sense of depth. It gives the subject or the element a sense of depth in the frame. It gives a depth, a dimension in the frame. Blake Edwards, Breakfast at Tiffany. He studied the title. Blake Edwards' film Breakfast at Tiffany, which was released in the year 1961, is a classical example of the 3-point lighting. It is a good example of 3-point lighting system. 3-point lighting. Which film? Blake Edwards, Breakfast at Tiffany. Breakfast at Tiffany is released or which was out in the year 1961. Is a classical example for the 3-point lighting system. It involves illuminations towards the darker end, the darker areas, and less bright key light, producing a good deal of shadow. You know, chiaroscuro or the low key lighting produces a good deal of shadow. And this lighting style, the low key lighting style, is most effective in film noir productions. In film noir means the dark films, the typical kind of dark films, film noir productions, and gangster films. The low key lighting, which produces a lot of shadow, is highly effective. in film noir productions and gangster films as a very dark and mysterious atmosphere. Very dark and mysterious ambience or atmosphere is created from the low light, from the designing light. Orson Welles was a master in the use of key light, the low key light, as is evident in his movies Touch of Evil and Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane, Kane, Kane. An important film that the student of film studies should, a student of film studies should necessarily watch the film Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane. Who is the director of Citizen Kane? Orson Welles. Orson Welles. Orsonwells. Orson Welles. Orson Welles is the director of the film Citizen Kane. Same. The low-key lighting is most effective in film noir productions and gangster films, as very dark and mysterious atmosphere or ambience is created from the designing light, from the dark low light. Orson Welles was a master of the use of a low-key light, as is evident, as is very clear from his movie Touch of Evil and Citizen Kane. In another form of lighting called high contrast lighting, there is also high contrast lighting. That means there is a high degree of contrast between bright light and shadow. We cannot very clearly know whether it is bright light or shadow. There is a high degree of contrast between bright light and shadow in high contrast lighting. In high contrast lighting, there is a high degree of contrast between bright light and shadow. Orson Welles, he was an American actor, director, writer, etc., producer. He was many things. Orson Welles was an American actor, director, writer and producer. He is considered one of the greatest filmmakers of all times. He is regarded or reckoned as one of the greatest filmmakers of all times. Citizen Kane is a 1941 American drama film. It's a 1941 drama film by Orson Welles. The Touch of Evil is a 1958 American film. American film noir. It belongs to the genre of film noir. Which film? The Touch of Evil. The Touch of Evil is a 1958 American film noir written and directed by Orson Welles, who also acts in the film. He is also an actor of the film. Which film? The Touch of Evil. See, Orson Welles acts in the film. What is film noir? I told you earlier, film noir or dark film. It is a style of film. It is still a style of film making characterized by such elements as cynical heroes, cruel, cynical heroes, stark lighting effects, frequent use of flashbacking technique, and intricate plots, very intricate, very sophisticated plots. This genre was prominent mostly in American crime drama of the post-World War II era, which genre, the film noir genre was very prevalent, mostly prevalent in America in the post-Second World War period or era. This genre was prevalent mostly in American crime drama of the post-World Second World War era. Then, in the studio era, the main form of illumination was provided by the arc lights, the large lights, arc lights, ARC arc lights. In the studios, the arc lights were illuminated. First, arc lights were used in studios. In the studio era, the main form of illumination was provided by arc lights, large arc lights. We can see such arc lights even now in student props and acting. Props means properties, decorations, and acting. Some scholars of film studies consider even props, properties, and acting as integral factors of mise-en-scène. Some scholars of film studies consider or regard even props and acting as integral components of mise-en-scène. Props or decor properties stand for objects of varying dimensions. Properties can be of varying dimensions, from cigarette smoke to parachutes. Cigarette മുതൽ പാരഷ്യൂട്ട് വരെയുള്ള അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അങ്ങനെയുള്ള എന്ത് സാധനങ്ങളും പ്രോപ്പർട്ടീസിൽ വരെ അവർ ഫ്രെയിമിൽ ഉൾപ്പെടുത്തുന്ന പ്രോപ്പർട്ടീസിൽ ഉൾപ്പെടാം. Properties or decor stand for objects of varying dimensions, from cigarette smoke to parachutes. Theorists like André Bazin, the French film theorist André Bazin, and Siegfried Krauker stand for a realist presentation of props or things as they really exist in the material world. The theorists like André Bazin and Siegfried Krauker they advocate for a realist presentation. They want a realist presentation of props or things as they really exist in the material world. At the same time, the French surrealist author Louis Aragon endorses props with other non-realist meanings. ആൻഡ്രേ ബേസിനും അതുപോലെ സിഗ്ഫ്രീഡ് ക്രൗക്കറും പറയും, നമ്മൾ ഈ ഭൗതിക ലോകത്ത് കാണുന്ന രീതിയിലുള്ള യഥാർത്ഥമായ പ്രോപ്പർട്ടീസ് വേണം ക്യാമറ ഫ്രെയിമിൽ ഉൾപ്പെടുത്തുവാൻ. അതേസമയത്ത് സറിയലിസ്റ്റ് ഓതറായ ലൂയി ആരഗൺ പറയുന്നത് ഈ നോൺ റിയലിസ്റ്റ് മീനിങ്ങും യഥാർത്ഥമായ മീനിങ്സും പ്രോപ്പർട്ടീസിന് വരാമെന്ന് ഉണ്ടാകാം. ഹി ഹൈലൈറ്റ്സ് ദി multiple significance, multiple importance or symbolic density of film props. He highlights, shows the multiple significance, multiple importance, വൈവിധ്യമാർന്ന പ്രാധാന്യം, or symbolic density, പ്രതീകാത്മകമായ പ്രാധാന്യം ഓഫ് ഫിലിം പ്രോപ്സ്. ഈ ഫിലിം പ്രോപ്സിന് വൈവിധ്യമാർന്ന അർത്ഥങ്ങളും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ പ്രാധാന്യവും അതുപോലെ സിംബോളിക് സിഗ്നിഫിക്കൻസ് ഉണ്ട് എന്ന് പറയുന്നു ലൂയി ആരഗൺ. ലൈറ്റ് സെറ്റിംഗ് പ്രോപ്സ് ഓൾസോ പെർഫോം ഇൻഫർമേഷൻ റോൾ. പ്രോപ്സിന് ഇൻഫർമേഷൻ നൽകാം. The light setting props also perform an information role with respect to the characters. കഥാപാത്രങ്ങളെ കുറിച്ചുള്ള ഇൻഫർമേഷൻ നൽകാൻ പ്രോപ്സിന് കഴിയുന്നു. Props can also indicate socio-economic and occupational status of characters. കഥാപാത്രങ്ങളുടെ സാമൂഹ്യ സാമ്പത്തിക അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഔദ്യോഗികമായ പശ്ചാത്തലം എന്താണെന്ന് കാണിക്കാൻ സഹായിക്കുന്ന ഒരു മുറി കാണിക്കുമ്പോൾ അവിടെ AC ഫിറ്റ് ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നു, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ വില കൂടിയ TV വെച്ചിരിക്കുന്നു. ഇതൊക്കെ ആ ഒരു ക്യാരക്ടറിന്റെ സ്റ്റേറ്റസിനെ കാണിക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പൊ അങ്ങനെ ആ നോൺ റിയലിസ്റ്റ് മീനിങ്സ് ഉണ്ടെന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ശരിയാണ്. Props can also indicate socio-economic and occupational status of characters. However, properties can take expressionistic or a symbolic power. So, however, at times At times, props can also take on expressionistic or symbolic power. Acting or performance. What is acting? Acting or performance can be thought of as the repertoire. Repertoire. R-E-P-E-R-T-O-I-R-E. Repertoire. Repertoire. Repertoire means stock of skills or types of behavior that a person habitually uses. A repertoire means stock of skills or types of behavior that a person habitually uses is called a repertoire. Acting or performance can be thought of as it can be defined as, it can be acting or performance can be termed as the repertoire of on-screen facial expressions. It is a combination of all these things. Acting is a combination or mixture of all these things. Facial expressions, gestures, positioning, movement and speech. Acting, actually performance combines all these elements. Which all things are included in acting? On-screen facial expressions, gestures, positioning, movement and speech. They are the things included in acting. On-screen facial expressions, gestures, positioning, movement and speech. Actually, the film theories have a tendency to set film acting against theatre acting. They have a tendency, they have a propensity to compare theatre acting and film acting. Theorists have a tendency to set film acting against theatre acting and see the former as impoverished. They consider the former theatre acting as impoverished, poor by comparison. They point out that theatre acting is very poor, impoverished by comparison. Walter Benjamin evokes film actor as a ghostly figure. Walter Benjamin, the film theorist, evokes film actor as a ghostly figure. Surviving minimally, the film actor survives only minimally in the dimensional screen image. The film actor survives only in the screen image, completely deprived of the vivid bodily persona or aura. Unlike the theatre actors, cinema കഥാപാത്രങ്ങൾ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മൾ സ്ക്രീനിൽ സിൽവർ സ്ക്രീനിൽ മാത്രം കാണുന്ന ഡയമെൻഷണൽ ഇമേജാണ്. ഇപ്പം മമ്മൂട്ടി മോഹൻലാൽ അവരുടെ കഥാപാത്രങ്ങൾ നമ്മൾ കാണുന്നു. അവരെ നമ്മൾ നേരിട്ട് കണ്ടിട്ടില്ല. അവരെ എങ്ങനെ ഇരിക്കും നമുക്കറിയില്ല. നമ്മൾ ഈ വെള്ളിത്തിരയിൽ മാത്രം കാണുന്നു. അങ്ങനെ നോക്കിയാൽ ഒരു ഗോസ്റ്റ്ലി ഫിഗറാണ് ഈ താരങ്ങൾ എന്നൊക്കെ പറയുന്നത്. പക്ഷേ നാടക നടന്മാരങ്ങനെയല്ല. നമ്മൾ നേരിട്ട് കാണുന്നു, അവരുടെ അഭിനയം നേരിട്ട് വിലയിരുത്തുന്നു. അവർക്കൊരു റീടേക്ക് ഇല്ല. ദർ ഈസ് നോ റീടേക്ക് ഈസ് പോസിബിൾ ഇൻ തിയേറ്റർ ആക്ടിങ്. ഒന്നുകൂടി നിർത്തി ക്യാൻസൽ ചെയ്തിട്ട് വീണ്ടും റീടേക്ക് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള അവസരം സ്റ്റേജിലില്ല. അപ്പം യഥാർത്ഥത്തിൽ ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുള്ളത് തിയേറ്റർ ആക്ടിങ്ങിനാണ്. റീടേക്ക് ഇല്ല, റിഹേഴ്സൽ കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ പിന്നെ റീടേക്ക് ഇല്ല. അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ബുദ്ധിമുട്ട് അനുഭവപ്പെടുന്നത് ഈ നാടകവേദിയിലാണ്. ആ യാഥാർത്ഥ്യം മറച്ചു വെച്ചുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഇമ്പോവരിഷ്ഡ് ആണ് ഈ ഡ്രമാറ്റിക് ആക്ടിങ്, തിയേറ്റർ ആക്ടിങ് എന്ന് ചില തിയറിസ്റ്റുകൾ ചൂണ്ടിക്കാണിക്കുന്നത്. സോ വാൾട്ടർ ബെഞ്ചമിൻ ഈസ് ഓഫ് ദി ഒപ്പീനിയൻ ദാറ്റ് film actor is a ghostly figure surviving minimally in the dimensional screen image, completely deprived of, completely without a vivid bodily persona or aura. Was Walter Benjamin? Walter Benjamin was a German, he belonged to the Jewish caste, German Jewish philosopher, cultural critic and essayist. Then Siegfried Krauker also supported the view of the existential crisis of the film performer by referring to the decomposition of the actor's wholeness. He referred to the film acting as the decomposition of the actor's ഹോൾനെസ്. ഒരു ആക്ടറെ നമ്മൾ പൂർണ്ണമായും കാണുന്നില്ല, പല പല ക്യാമറ ആംഗിളുകളിലൂടെയാണ് കാണുന്നത്. നാടകത്തിൽ അങ്ങനെ ആംഗിള് ക്ലോസപ്പും എക്സ്ട്രീം ക്ലോസപ്പും ഒന്നുമില്ല. അവരെ നമ്മൾ 3 ഡയമെൻഷനലായിട്ട് കാണുകയാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അപ്പൊ ഇവിടെ എന്താ സംഭവിക്കുന്നത്? Siegfried Krauker points out the crisis of film performers, film actors, by referring to the decomposition of the actors' wholeness. Two of the most common styles of performance. Two most common types of performance in modern cinema. Two of the most common styles of performance in modern cinema are method and non-method acting. There is method acting and non-method acting. What is method acting and what is non-method acting? Method acting means naturalistic acting, and non-method acting means stylized acting. Once again, method acting means naturalistic acting, and non-method acting means stylized acting. They are also known as naturalistic and stylized acting, method acting and non-method acting. The method actor attempts to become one with the character by faithfully following mannerisms, dress, culture, etc. നമ്മുടെ മലയാള സിനിമയിലുള്ള മിക്ക നടന്മാരും മെത്തേഡ് ആക്ടേഴ്സാണ്. മമ്മൂട്ടിയായാലും മോഹൻലാലായാലും ബാക്കിയുള്ള ക്യാരക്ടർ നടന്മാരെല്ലാവരും തന്നെ മെത്തേഡ് ആക്ടേഴ്സാണ്. പിന്നെ ചില ഹാസ്യ നടന്മാരൊക്കെ നോൺ മെത്തേഡ് ആക്ടിങ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ സ്റ്റൈലൈസ്ഡ് ആക്ടിങ്ങിൽ വരുന്നു. തമിഴിലെ രജനീകാന്ത്, അദ്ദേഹം നോൺ മെത്തേഡ് ആക്ടറാണ്. കമൽ ഹാസൻ മെത്തേഡ് ആക്ടറാണ്. അങ്ങനെയുള്ള വ്യത്യാസമാണ് ഇന്ത്യൻ സിനിമയെ കുറിച്ച് പറയുമ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് കാണാൻ കഴിയുന്നത്. Then which are the two prevalent styles of performance existing in modern cinema? Method acting and non-method acting. They are also known as naturalistic and stylized acting respectively. The method actor attempts to become one with the character by faithfully following mannerisms, dress, culture, etc. The actor becomes indistinguishable. The actor becomes indistinguishable, inseparable from the character. The actor becomes indistinguishable or inseparable from the character in method acting. Non-method or stylized acting places emphasis. Non-method acting or stylized acting places or gives emphasis upon the director's point of view. The actors overact. In non-method acting, the actors overact and exaggerate certain characteristics with a view to dramatize or to undercut for a comic effect. ഇപ്പോൾ കോമഡിക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് എന്തെങ്കിലുമൊക്കെ വളുപ്പുകളൊക്കെ കാണിക്കുന്നു, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ സ്റ്റൈലിന് വേണ്ടി രജനീകാന്ത് കാണിക്കുന്ന പോലെ ഉള്ള സ്റ്റൈലിന് വേണ്ടി എന്തെങ്കിലും കാണിക്കുന്നു, അപ്പോൾ സിഗരറ്റ് വായിലേക്ക് വലിച്ചെറിയുന്നു. ഇതൊക്കെ ദീസ് ആർ പാർട്സ് ഓഫ് നോൺ മെത്തേഡ് ആക്ടിങ്. Non-method acting. See what happens in non-method acting. The actors overact and exaggerate certain characters with a view to dramatize or to undercut for a comic effect. The elements of histrionics. Histrionics means the melodramatic elements. Histrionics and improvisation. Improvisation means created spontaneously. Something created spontaneously. Improvisations are part of stylized acting or non-method acting. അപ്പോൾ ഹിസ്ട്രിയോണിക്സ് മെലോഡ്രാമാറ്റിക്, അലമുറയിട്ട് കരയുക അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അട്ടഹസിച്ചിരിക്കുക, ഇങ്ങനെയൊക്കെയുള്ള കോമഡിയിൽ കാണുന്ന അല്ലെങ്കിൽ വളരെ ട്രാജിക്കായ ഫിലിംസിൽ കാണുന്ന ചില മെലോഡ്രാമാറ്റിക് സിറ്റുവേഷൻസ് ഹിസ്ട്രിയോണിക്സ്. ആൻഡ് ഓൾസോ ദി ഇംപ്രവൈസേഷൻസ്, കയ്യിൽ നിന്ന് കുറെ ജഗതി ശ്രീകുമാറിനെ പോലെ കയ്യിൽ നിന്ന് കുറെ